let's get started with lightning talks. Lightning talks are 5 minutes. I will be timing you. Seda Maurer has our first talk, so come on down, Seda. Give her a well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brian. The topic of my talk today is accessibility. But do we even want to talk about accessibility? Who cares about 1.3 blind and visually impaired people, 750,000 being added to it every year? Who cares about 1.7 million who cannot even hold the mouse? Or 16+% of the population who has hearing impairment? Or let's talk about 69% obesity in a country, which we know is going to probably end up with diabetes and all sorts of visual and physical disabilities. And let's see, we have, what, 40, 50 people here? Probably 20% of you have some sort of dyslexia. At least that's what the stats say. You probably don't even want to associate with it because it's a stigma you don't want to have, which is very true and right. Some of our best minds are dyslexic. Bill Gates, Jobs, Steven Spielberg, Einstein, Picasso, you can go on and on. So, should we talk about disability? Yes, we should. As UX designers, we take the responsibility of doing no harm. So, are we not doing harm when we are denying a large number of our population from the luxury and comfort of technology that we enjoy? I can sit in my den, in my wonderful recliner, I can order pizza, do shopping, do anything, as you know, as I wish, whether it's my mobile or it's my desktop. I am so equipped and my life has been made so easy. But we start discriminating when we are not considering all of this with people with different abilities. We are doing harm when we are not being empathetic. I've read so many books that talks about empathy, whether it's from your posture and standing to communicating with others. Empathy is truly the next differentiator. We have made a great progress with UX and user-centered designs, but now we have to take it a step further. We need to learn to become more empathetic with how people are learning, what functional issues people have, and how we can simplify life for them. It is our responsibility, and I just encourage all of you, as you are designing, developing, communicating, please consider universal designs and consider with people with different abilities and disabilities. Thank you.
So Ken Tabor is up next. And the crazy thing is, people at South by Southwest scheduled us at the same time.
It's true. It's true. That is crazy. That's beyond crazy.
Take it away, Ken.
I own a car, and I drive it nearly every day. Not too long from now, the car will be the one driving me. Future Ken will own a car. He might operate the car, but the days dedicated to humans driving are numbered. Raise your hand if you drive a car. Well, of course, in the very near future, you're going to own a self-driving car, and how will you interact differently with it? You know, what user interface controls will vanish. And are you going to miss them, or is it going to be good riddance? Headlamps, turn indicators, brake lights, completely unnecessary. They are signal choices between human beings. There's no reason having those when computers are controlling everything. They're antiquated leftovers. When it comes to storage, there's no more room, there's no need for a space-hogging steering wheel. Get rid of it, reclaim all that space, and take all those treats and the sunglasses and put them right there. But even better, give me a shelf with power and Wi-Fi from my laptop and make the car the ultimate docking station. Windows are a classic user interface. Clear views allow humans to see where they're going. Won't be needing those anymore. So why don't you decorate your windows like the ones you have at your house? They have curtains or shutters or blinds. Bring that personal style into cars. Make them stained glass and beautiful. Speed, RPM, engine heat, other dashboard gauges, who cares? Figure out what's important to humans and show them that. Actionable info. Are we there yet? Does my car need a charge? Is there coffee nearby? Power seats contribute to a fantastic user experience, right? Configure for your comfort. Move forward, move backward, tilt up and down, adjust the angle. Now, I want to turn all the way around and enjoy the view. Hit recline mode and take a nap. Stalks. These are two arms from the steering wheel. They lift up, they drop down, they push forward, they pull backward, the ends turn. They're littered with all sorts of little abbreviations and icons. They're always partially obstructed. Cognitive overload, UX fail. Water, coffee, sodas, you can never have too many cup holders in your car. Most of them have them kind of low down in the center, out of the way. Raise them up, put them right there. And then, make sure electric razors and cell phones and eyeliners and toothbrushes fit in there well, too. I owned a 350Z. It was manual, and shifting through its gears was a joy. But now I traded in for an automatic. Why does it have a stick shift? Give me 2 buttons, forward and backward. When I come to a stop, go into park. You'll find a floor-mounted console between the 2 front seats, and it divides your passenger from you. That's my personal space. Rip it out. I want that space back so I can turn around and hang out with the people that's driving with me, my beloved passengers. Now, I know that we are in a car-centric culture, and saying goodbye is going to be difficult. But I think gearheads will get their need for speed at private driving reserves, where you can have the thrill of old school driving ATVs, dirt bikes, Jeeps, snowmobiles. If it's open air and dangerous, yes please. And the interesting thing is, all of these supporting ecosystems around car culture are gone. Put the gecko up there too. And it is interesting, all the people we hire to kick us when we're naughty. Now you might think this is a negative, but this is the projected number of deaths from driving last year. It's projected, it's only estimated. According to the National Safety Council, this is up 6% from the previous year. Gas got cheap. The next number is the number of people who were injured in 2016. That's up 7%. Crazy thing is, those 2 numbers are US only. Globally, how much is it? Double? 10x? And the other people that we won't need if we're not killing each other and hurting each other, all of these good folks. There's a lot of resources spent when a car wreck happens. Plenty of it is immediate treatment, physical therapy. Emotional issues take a lot longer to work through, and we won't need these services going forward. Now, for all of you, I know that you're diligent at what you do. Y'all are awesome. You're dedicated to people and human-centric design. You study users, discover pain points, and try to remove them. I'm asking for you to consider something. What happens when you find out people are the pain points? Will you work to remove them? As the great Tommy Lee Jones said in the '97 movie Men in Black, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. Always connect the networks, massive storage, advanced sensor package, machine learning. All of this tech is combining in unique ways to evolve the expectations of user experience. Please consider these trends in your job and careers. If you're interested in my work, please find my website and my book on Amazon. Feel free to respond to my crazy ideas through Twitter or email. And thanks so much for your time and attention, everyone.
Four minutes, 59 seconds. Good job. All right, who's next? Slides.
Set number 3, right?
Whoa. Oh, man. Really appropriate.
That's perfect. Is it all right? That's fine.
All right, it's fine. Go ahead, slide. So what I actually think we should do a quick experiment. Ken, I want you to give your South by Southwest talk here, I'll give it in that side. Recreate the weekend, right?
That'd be something.
All right, take it away,
There
slide.
you go. All right. My name is Sylvester. How are y'all doing? I am a UX designer, product owner, product manager. I was in the Army for 8 years. Dad, husband, musician, all that good stuff. So I want to talk about logistics in UX and how they relate. So I spent 8 years doing logistics management in the Army. Did supply chain management. It's all about touch points, efficiency, and effectiveness. How does everything get to where it needs to be quickly, efficiently, effectively, with the least amount of loss, all right? So I did that. I did a lot of that stuff. And so I had a little experience with how to move stuff. Military convoys, if poorly executed, are bad. UX design, if poorly executed, costs a lot of money. So, got me thinking, if the internet is the information superhighway, then UX is the logistics of information. It's how we deliver information to our users. Logistics is defined as, right, the transfer and delivery of goods. So we deliver from the product to the user. Our whole goal is to ensure clarity and effectiveness and efficiency in how we communicate. So 3 main points that I identified for logistics is the what, how, and when. Those are the questions we have to solve. What information do we deliver? How do we deliver that information best? And when do we deliver it? So what does that mean for the user? The information has to be valuable. The user can understand the context. It has to be comprehensible, and it has to be timely. It needs to be delivered at the right time so that the user can get the most benefit from it. But under all of this is the why. Why are we delivering this information to the user? Why are we putting this website together? Why are we designing this product? This underpins the whole framework. This comes from your research, from your discovery, and if you don't have that question answered effectively, you don't understand business goals, the user goals, kind of everything that goes behind why you're doing it, you may need more research or reassess. So let's kind of dive real quickly into the what, how, when. So the touch points, right? What you deliver. You need to define the touch points that the user is going to interact with your product. You need to be very clear about what those touch points are so that you can deliver the appropriate information. Copy, right? This is a big one. Reduce copy, reduce copy, reduce copy, right? I read somewhere that reduce copy by half, and if you can, half it again. And then create context. Make sure that the information that you provide the user points somehow to what's coming next. Gives them a sense of context within the flow. So how we deliver this information is very important because of the audience. You have to know your audience. Tailor your presentation. No one-size-fits-all patterns, right? We don't design one solution for one set of users and rinse and repeat for the next one because it may not work. Consider tone, mood, how you phrase it, what you're saying, how you're saying it. Ensure that you're designing the content appropriately so that it connects with your users. And then trust. You create trust by understanding your users' mental models and being able to anticipate their needs in how you present that information. And then the when, right? The information has to be relevant. That's kind of the whole point of timing the delivery of information. It needs to be relevant to what they're trying to do at the moment, not what they were trying to do 5 minutes ago or 2 days in the future. Understand their journey, right, to deliver that information at the appropriate time. And then one little bit that came up was the friction. I remember we had a talk about friction recently, and they talked about invisible friction. I think understanding your user's journey very, very intimately can allow you to predict and see where those points of invisible friction are going to pop up, and you can solve them. When you solve those points of friction that the customer or the user maybe was not aware that existed, you create trust. You create a delightful experience at that time because you solve the problem that they may have not known about. UX is science, not art. There's a few platitudes, sweat the details, be intentional, aim for success. They sound like platitudes, but they're important. Details make or break everything in military operations and in product design. Be intentional about every interaction. Every interaction is an opportunity to make or lose a customer, and aim for success. Focus on the metrics that matter to you and your stakeholders, not on how innovative or gorgeous your new design is. Always mission first. Always mission first. That's the why. Be ruthless in trimming what doesn't fit your mission. Be methodical in executing your mission. And learn objectively from your mistakes. Thanks.
Kim, you want to go?
Is there a story how Lightning Talk started? Is there a story behind how Lightning Talk started?
Yeah, the question was, is there a story behind lightning talks? For us, I was lazy one month.
Laziness is the mother of all invention.
Right.
You need a clicker?
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Harris. Is going to start in a moment. So real quick on Sly. Sly is in the SMU class that
Yes, sir.
Jay, Preston, and I teach. So Preston, you got an advanced screening of Sylvester.
Yes. But I've already had a few advanced screenings of Sylvester, so I know what he's capable of. As he wipes the sweat off his
We're
brow.
expecting big things. Big things.
We're just gonna raise the bar more.
We're gonna raise the bar.
Was that a sloth on your head?
Is that photo?
Oh, and that was a baboon
A baboon.
in
Okay.
Ethiopia.
All right.
This is my last deployment. We stopped in
Personal
during
Take it away, Kim.
Alrighty. I'm either going to speak really fast or I'm going to confuse you guys because I don't have a lot of details because this is a shortened speech. But if I'm lucky enough, I'll do both. So, happy people. This, if you can't tell, are my coworkers. Pictures of my coworkers. That was just last week, actually. So,
What?
happy people make better employees. Yes, we're hiring. Hi guys, my name is Kim Harris and I'm a senior UX designer at Project 202 and I'm also a happy employee there. So I want to talk a little bit about employee experience design. Why? I'm a UX designer, but I design experiences. And so once I realized I actually like this job and I'm not trying to leave here, I took a long hard look and I had to realize like why. I usually will switch jobs around a year and a half or find something new to do. That seemed to be the trend with like the millennial age generation, but I didn't feel the itch around the year mark. And so I talked to some leadership at Project 202 and I said, what are you guys doing that's so special that makes me not want to leave this place? I don't understand it. And so I want to talk a little bit about how we can craft a better employee experience in order to affect our businesses more. But before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about the value of user experience design. It's something that we all know, which is the cost to fix an error found after product release is significantly higher than errors uncovered during design. So how does this relate to employee experience design? The cost of losing an employee can cost 213% of the salary for a highly trained position. So if an executive is making $120,000 a year, that loss could be $255,600 to the company. It's not just bad software, guys. We design software for frustrated users, but what if we are the frustrated users? Harvard Business Review says the best customer experiences bring the company's distinctive brand values and attributes to life. As long as we're aligning with the priorities and differentiations of our brands, we'll have better employee experiences as well. So for example, if we are designing software, but our internal software is crap, what brand are we reflecting? By allowing employees to experience the benefits of the brand that you actually provide, they are actually able to cultivate a distinctive culture in the company and are more likely to thrive in it. So employee experience design is equal to employee engagement plus employee empowerment. And with that comes other principles of culture, collaboration, process, communication, the autonomy / competence, the relatedness that people feel. And so as user experience designers, we actually have a leg up in this because guess what? We know experiences. We apply experience design to our jobs every day, so what's keeping us from applying this to our own personal experience at work? So say it with me now, guys. Research, design, validate. It's what we do. So from a research standpoint, go out to your employees, or actually just ask yourself. Take a look at what the employee journey looks like in your company. Figure out what's the recruiting process, the onboarding process, how people get actually acclimated into their teams, if there's any education available, any kind of advancement, even all the way to this journey of retirement. Look at what your processes look like. Maybe even craft some sample employee personas, especially if you have users that are remote, that telecommute, that are on offsite client sites, or maybe you have younger users, younger employees, such as interns, who maybe they don't understand how to pick insurance for the first time, and so a stack of paperwork in front of them is just going to be too complicated. So take a look at what your employees are made of, and do a little bit of research before you actually start to redesign what that process looks like. And so at Project 202, they somehow have designed these processes that make people actually feel empowered there, and we're able to actually concentrate more on our work faster and do it better, do it well, because we don't actually have to worry about all the paperwork that we have to think about when we're getting hired into the normal company. So design something that's better, whether it's taking it from paper to digital, or whether it's just getting rid of processes that are just antiquated and in the way. Find something that works for your organization and try and implement it. And of course, validating, asking around to your employees if this actually works, if it makes them do their jobs better, and if it also makes them feel empowered. So again, happy people, like these guys, and that in the top corner, top 100 places to work for Dallas Morning News, make way better employees.
What software did you use for this presentation?
Keynote?
Okay.
Are there other options that are?
Paper, pen, what else do you use?
Are there?
So you want to get a run just straight through a web browser.
Semaphore?
Those are PowerPoint.
I'm joking, I know. PowerPoint's tough. Find PowerPoint. There you go.
Except for PowerPoint.
I'm not a
Go. All right. Chatbots. Take it away, Martha.
Chatbots. A chatbot is a natural language conversational service. It takes our input and converts it to text first, then to intent. At the back end, there's an answer being generated that we listen to or we process visually. UX of chatbots has many aspects. For example, do I use the chatbot on my smartphone or do I use it on a home hub? And in that case, do I give Alexa only a sliver of my attention and then my eyes and hands are elsewhere? Do I use this chatbot daily? Do I expect efficiencies and automation? Is it a learning bot? Will it remember me when I next use it? Does it remember a few exchanges back? Can it switch between voice and text? Can it tell me apart from my husband? Does it know where I am now? Can I trust it with my personal financial information, for instance? Is this a specialized bot? Do I use it to order merchandise or get information? Or is it a generic one that can tend to several of my needs? Would I use it with text only or voice? Is it an autocratic bot, like an IVR, that only allows me for a handful of choices at every step? Is it maybe too human-like, and then maybe I treat it too familiarly and confuse it? If things fail, can I expect a human to take over and help me? And finally, is it truly conversational? Human conversation is defined, among others, by Paul Grice, who has a cooperative principle and maxims that are very useful to both build chatbots, but also assess their quality. For example, be informative, but no more than needed. Don't lie. Don't provide information that you cannot, do not have evidence for. Be relevant. Avoid obscurity and ambiguity. Be brief. Be orderly. Bots can be informational or transactional, and in that case, my expectations of what the bot does is well defined. I order stuff or I ask for stuff. But if a bot is social, then I may not be able to explain really well what I'm expecting of it, and maybe it should detect my mood and lift it with a joke, or maybe it should talk to me about the weather. Regardless, a social bot should be a good conversationalist. There are already tens of chatbots out there, and there are hundreds of top lists. You will likely recognize a few names here. Tina the T-Rex is a very competent, friendly, educational chatbot for children. She does many things well, but she has some glitches. For example, if I ask her about siblings, she'll talk to me about her teeth. If I ask about hatching or bathing, she'll tell me that she's sleeping standing. If I mistype words, starting, for example, do you like ABCD, do you go to, do you, normally, based on the topic of the sentence, she should come up with better responses than what she's actually giving. And I know she has very good responses. Her natural language understanding needs to be beefed up. She also needs a better taxonomy, that is a classification of using words and categories to tie them to the current context and produce educated answers. UX is about expectations. There are many bots out there in many categories. Regardless, a good bot will have a good taxonomy. It will have good management of context, a clearly defined personality, and appropriate personality. And finally, we know that conversing with a human is difficult. So we will be patient while bots keep growing. That's it.
You want to go next?
No, I'm going next.
Oh.
You're going next?
Yeah, I'm good. If that's okay.
I
Emily?
will prepare to go after.
Okay, she
Thank
can
you.
set up on, you talk about ecosystem mapping. Take it away, Alyssa.
This is something that's really been bothering me lately. How many of you are doing customer journey maps? I thought so, and the numbers are growing, right? And you're doing experience journey maps, you're doing all these wonderful journey maps. What do you do with them?
Anybody?
Identify
Hang
pain
'em up.
points.
I'm sorry?
Hang them up on the wall,
Hang them up on the wall, okay?
cover them up with other things in a couple of months.
Okay. Cover them up with other things in a couple of months. What else?
Give them to your boss.
Give them to your boss. Good idea. What else?
Refer to them during meetings with stakeholders.
Okay, refer to them with meetings. What else?
Deriving epics out of those.
Try to do epics out of them. Okay. What about, have any of you tried doing any kind of an atlas of all of your journey maps? Anybody in here tried to do that yet?
Well, that's the value stream mapping that we try to do for some value streams.
All right, one of the things that I'm finding fascinating about the customer journey map is sometimes I think we're starting at the wrong point. We get in and start mapping somebody's journey without understanding the context. And to me, that's one of the biggest problems with customer journey maps. So I started looking at this whole concept of ecosystem mapping. And it all came out of a project that some of you have been following along with me that I've been doing with our IT department at CA to understand the products and services that they offer, how these things interrelate, and then start looking at the actual journeys. So I just kind of want to walk through a little bit of the thinking that goes behind this. So think about your IT department where you work. Who are the customers to your IT department? Anybody?
Business.
I'm sorry?
The business.
The business.
The business itself, okay, what else?
Clients.
Clients, what else?
Third-party software providers. probably.
Okay, third-party software,
Salespeople. Salespeople.
okay, salespeople,
The IT department itself, because
okay.
they have to make it.
What about you?
Maybe employees.
The employees? You're probably one of the biggest things that they deal with every day.
Yes.
Are there special categories of these? Such as
Executives.
executives who don't want to deal with anything, what else? How about the admins that support the execs? All right, so one of the things I started asking the IT department was, who are the customers? And one of the executives says to me, as we're going through the exercise, I don't really know. And to me, that was the light bulb moment, because the job that came to me in working with them was, we know that we are measured by how well we deliver technology, but not on how well we serve our customers. So they wanted, as an IT department, to make this shift. So the first thing we did was start mapping out who are these customers. All right. Second of all, let's talk a little bit about the services that an IT department may offer. Anybody? You've got things like help desk,
Onboarding.
onboarding,
Provisioning.
provisioning,
Training. Network security.
training. Oh, this is good. Keep going, you guys.
Recycling.
Hardware.
Operate.
Sanitation.
Not sanitation necessarily, but
Yeah. The IT platform itself, right? The business platform.
platform, right? Platforms, architecture,
Applications.
release management.
Facilities management.
We're not getting into facilities, we're not thinking of physical.
Applications, yeah.
In this case, the IT department doesn't do that, the facilities.
Networking.
I'm sorry?
Networking. like
Networking,
applications.
okay. So now we have all of these services. And one of the things that I urged them to try to do was say, okay, which of these people uses which of these services? And where are things crossing over, and how does this impact? Now, this is a very simple version of this, and I know with our lightning talks, a lot of times, we sort of do a preview of the things that are gonna happen at Big D. And I wanted to whet your appetite about this concept, about how an admin might be looking at ordering hardware, ordering training, dealing with onboarding, calling the help desk. That's one person. So how is this person dealing with this ecosystem of products and services provided by the IT department? So I don't think we give enough
attention to this. And if you're interested in it, I will be discussing this further at Big D in September.
Okay, does anyone else want to cut in front of me, please? I'm joking. I say that out of love and respect.
Thank you, dear. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
All right, Emily, take it away.
All right, I'm going to talk about proxy users. This is a room of UX professionals mostly, I think. So I think we can all agree about one thing, that research is good. Talking to customers, doing user testing on prototypes, doing the research is good. I think we can also all agree that sometimes getting access to the end users is really hard. So we end up falling back to this concept of proxy users. Whether you call it that or not, that's what we start doing. So you start talking to people like your sales team, and they say, I know my customers, I know what they want, I talk to them every day, they've told me that this is the thing that is their biggest pain point. And we go and we build off of that. You may, if you can get past the sales team, you might get to the boss of people that are using this. So that they say, I can give you their supervisor, they can represent their team well, they can talk to what they need, but they're still not the ones at the end of the day that are actually using what you're building. You can talk to the consultants that work with those people closely. I happen to be one of those, so that I can make fun of myself here a little bit. But at the end of the day, we don't really know what those users are going through, or your own brilliant mind. You maybe have worked on this product for years, you've used it yourself, it was your child, and you feel like, I know what my customers need. I know them so well. But at the end of the day, there is one big fundamental problem with using these proxy users, and that is that they're not your users. They are not actually the people who are touching your software, who are touching the designs that you're building, and it can be really dangerous to solely rely on these types of people to drive all of your product decisions. They can be very valuable when used correctly, but what I've seen happening the more that I've been out there is that we kind of stop there and don't use the actual customers. It's really bad because these proxy customers view customer needs through their own bias. When you're talking to a salesperson, he's looking at the last conversation that he had, and they were really upset about that one thing. It's the most important thing. I've had many situations where my sales guy has said, this feature is critical to get in before we release, we cannot sell it without it. We go and talk to the actual customer and they're like, I was mad about that last week, but it's really not the biggest deal. It was just a pain in my side and now I'm okay. And we would have built the wrong thing if we had just listened to that. The other aspect is proxies really lose the nuance of real user needs and behaviors. Your customers are complex people with a lot of motivations, a lot of things under the surface that they may not even know. And so when you talk to the proxy users, they're looking at things at a Cliff Notes level. They are summarizing the things that they've heard. They're telling you kind of what they see on the surface. And the real insights are the things that are just below the surface that maybe even the user doesn't know how to articulate, and you're watching for in your user interviews or as they're struggling with pieces of the system. And if you stick to just the proxy, you're never going to get below that surface level to things that could fundamentally change what you build. So if these proxy users are not so great, why do so many companies still use them? And really it's because it's easy. If you try to get to your actual users, especially in an enterprise context, you will hit roadblock after roadblock of people who do not want you to talk to the customers. I don't understand it, I don't know why, but it's there. And so we fall back and just hope that these proxies can give us what we need so that we never actually have to talk to our users. At the end of the day though, your users want to talk to you. They want to have conversations. They want to be a part of influencing your product. So as the professionals in the room who are influencing these decisions, push the envelope, make people give you the access to the customers that you need, and just go actually talk to them. So that's all.
All right, who's next? Jeff, come on up, Jeff. And Jeremy, you have one, right?
It's not a dynamic too, I have to go there. No, you're good. Phil?
And Daniel, did you have one for us?
I have a computer if you want to.
Oh, Mr. Shu.
Is it
Glad
online?
you could join us.
All right, good.
Okay.
I brought my bodyguard.
All right, take it away, Jeff.
I'm going to talk about an unlikely topic, SEO. I recently wrote an article for Rocks Digital entitled, A Human's First Approach to SEO. And the reason why I wrote it is because as a web designer and developer, I've been tackling SEO for a good number of years. I've always built websites with accessibility in mind and with good semantics, and the idea is that hopefully an SEO marketer will be able to look at my website and go, good on you, boy, you did good with me. Yeah, but the more I attend a lot of different SEO meetups, and the more I talk to a lot of different SEO people over the years, the more I've learned that the idea of UX entering into the world of SEO has been really slow. It's already kind of working, it's already kind of entrenched in there, but it's really, really, really slow. But if you look at Google, especially over the past 5 years, 3 years even, their algorithm changes are pretty consistent. And the message they're sending is pretty consistent too. They're basically taking a hammer and pounding over people's heads, especially online marketers, that the most important person that you should be concentrating on is not Google, it's your users. So rather than taking a Google first approach, which is what I think a lot of online marketers have a tendency to do, you should really be taking a humans first approach, because at the end of the day, it's not Google that really cares, it's the person that's on the other side of the screen that cares. And so, when I started really diving down into this over the past first month, because one of my clients came to me and said, Jeff, I need an SEO guy. Do you know an SEO guy? And so I went out and tried to research and put out some names in the hats and try to find somebody that actually I felt good, that understood the UX side of things, understood the customer experience driven direction that I wanted to take it. And could they apply that to SEO and online marketing practices? And all I got was just like, insect chirps. Nothing. Nobody responding. I was like, what is going on here? And I think it was because I just really scared the crap out of them, really. Because they was like, oh, UX, ooh, I don't know anything about that. But yet, the majority of the meetups I went into, that topic kept coming up at least 25% of the time. Because the thing I noticed about my clients' sites is that 20% on average, 20% of almost every website gets their results from organic search. Even if you get low to only like an eighth of the traffic, that's still a sizable chunk. So to ignore that is just stupid. And so what Google is really pounding people over the head on, yes, pay attention. And this is how I know this. 5 years ago, IBM created this computer called Watson. You ever heard about this? Right? And that computer basically was designed to parse information really, really fast in order to find one answer to a question. And this thing went up against the top 2 Jeopardy players. They actually had this computer play Jeopardy. And this computer beat the pants off of both of these players because this computer was so fast at being able to find information. But the thing about it is, it wasn't just able to find the answer to the question. It was getting some gnarly questions. It had to understand the context. In other words, it had to think and interpret things the same way a human being could. What do you think Google's doing with their algorithms? They're doing almost the same idea, except rather than trying to find the answer to just one question, they're trying to find multiple answers to your query. And they're trying to interpret it and make an understanding about what it is to think like a human being. That's what Google's in. Now just like Watson, Google has stumbled along the way. We all know this. There's a lot of different things that they put out, AMP, anyone. But they're still working at it. They're still getting better at it. And so when I started on this path, I knew that I had to think about that. I knew that 20% of the average visitors of the websites that I build are going to do it through Google. That's going to be their first touch point in most cases with the websites that I build. So I had to think about that. What is it they're going to see? What kind of expectations are they going to have? And so I did do the typical stuff that normal SEO people do: keyword research and competitive analysis. But I do it from the purview of, I'm not trying to do any of this to try to trick Google. I'm doing this so I can become informed on the ways that people are using the web and what the context is to how people are using web versus my client's website. And what kind of content strategy does my client have to use in order to get the widest range audience, or sometimes the best niche. Sometimes you have to go the opposite approach. And that's one of the best things you can do as part of the tool. So what I would urge you to do is, if you are building websites or if you are working hand in hand with people that are doing online marketing, is to push really hard to integrate the UX component into that process. To make them realize that user experience is not just some user experience designer's job, it's everybody's job. And that rather than thinking Google first, think humans first. Thank you.
So, before you guys go, I made a mistake on something. I'm going to try to correct it, but I need to make sure that this person participates. So, Rob, Omar, I want you to bring that young lady up because we're going to give a talk right now. Come on. Come on up. Come on up. We're going to give a talk. It's pretty easy. All right. Okay.
Or just her?
Just her.
Well, then why did I need to be in
I
this?
said, Rob, help me get her up here.
Okay, cool.
She actually emailed me a couple of times to give a talk, and because I get, it's not that bad.
Putting me on the spot.
No, I'm not. I'm going to actually do the talking. You're going to mirror me.
Okay.
Can you do that?
I can do that.
Yes, you can. Okay, great. Say that you're going to time us?
I'll do.
All right. I need the fingers for, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is pretty easy. Okay?
Okay.
All right. What's your name?
Chandra McCrae.
Okay, so she actually was going to do, great, awesome. She was going to do a talk. What we're going to talk about tonight is something that I've read recently. And are you able to see this?
I am.
Great. We're going to start here. It's called The Genius of Opposites. It's a book that I just read a couple of weeks ago. And it talks about an acronym, A, B, C, D, E. So sometimes you'll work with someone and it's really fresh and new and it feels awkward. Like now?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit. So A is accept the alien, right? The other person is different from you. Accept the alien. So this is an opportunity for you to